Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at two cases where cops use excessive force on women, one slamming a pregnant woman to the ground over a mere equipment violation, and the other arresting a woman for simply speaking out about her brother's detainment. On February 1st, 2022, in Louisville, Kentucky, a McCracken County deputy, John Hayden, pulled over a vehicle operated by 24-year-old pregnant woman, Alaya Bowie, for driving with red tape on her taillights. According to Flanagan Law, if you have a broken taillight, there is a chance that the reflected light is more white than red. However, if you can use something to tape the cover back together accurately so that the red light is emitting, this may be enough to suffice until you can get it fixed. Although, if primarily white or all white is showing through the broken cover, you may subject yourself to getting pulled over or fined. However, such an oversight may only be illegal if one is a danger to others on the road, and where the officer pulled Miss Bowie over was nowhere near close.
What's that?
What's wrong? That serious for a tail light?
I'm coming to pull you over.
For a tail light?
Okay, do you want to get cited today? Because you're already off on a bad fact.
You're already mad.
ID.
I don't have one with me. I have to go in the house and get it.
You got your ID?
Yeah.
Okay.
The officer said that he was pulling over a stationary vehicle, that too on one's own private property. This alone already made the officer viable of violating Miss Bowie's fourth constitutional right, which states, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." On top of that, according to the Baldani Law Group, if you are stopped by police on the street, you do not have to answer any questions. The only information that you must give to the police, if asked, is your name. As discussed above, you do not have to provide identification to the police. It also states that, while you do not have to provide identification if you are stopped by the police on the street, if you are driving, different rules apply. If the police request you to provide them, you must provide your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. Considering that Miss Bowie was no longer driving at the moment the officer pulled her over, the victim was not required to give him any identification. Just to avoid any trouble though, she would show the officer her ID anyway.
That don't make no sense.
Is that why you pulled us over?
Yes, you know it is.
Yes, that's why I turned around on you. And you
Yeah, I just bought this
45.
tape.
I believe it's going to be Mitchum trailer parking. By the way, that doesn't fix it. So.
Okay, well it still works.
What's your name?
Fix it? What do
It
you
does
mean?
not. You have to get red tape. Does not fix it.
It still works.
Does that make sense? It does not work. I'm telling you.
I haven't got. We haven't got.
What's your
pulled
name?
over How long?
What's your name?
Wait a minute. First of all, what's the matter?
He has an attitude.
What do you mean stop?
What do you mean
Okay,
stop?
I'm
Go
gonna
over
go
there.
this way.
You're going right over there. Yes, you do have to say something to me.
For one.
No, you're staying right here.
Why do I have to stay?
Because I'm telling you to.
You don't have to talk to me like that. Why are you hollering this
I am telling you to stay right here.
I know already.
It's important to note that the officer was not allowed to conduct a traffic stop here. According to Elaine Rivas and Associates, the answer to whether officers can pull you over on private property originates from a question of jurisdiction. Most courts hold that private roads and parking lots do not meet the definition of a street or highway, and as such, do not fall under the jurisdiction of the local police force. This is because the road and parking lots are not generally considered to be open to the public for vehicular traffic use. For the ticket to stand, the prosecution must prove that the roadway was open for use by the public. If they cannot, the court may find that the officer was acting outside of his or her jurisdiction and dismiss the charges. Moreover, the only exception to this rule is if there is a written agreement between the private property owner and local law enforcement, which explicitly provides law enforcement with traffic control jurisdiction over the roadway or parking lot in question. Moreover, a broken taillight is not a crime, and a traffic stop on private property for the express purpose of issuing a citation for the broken light would be dismissed. Judging by this, the officer was not allowed to conduct a traffic stop here and broke multiple laws by doing so.
Don't even say nothing else.
And I'm not saying.
What's your name?
Because he doing
I
What's your
wasn't
name?
driving.
He's doing
she was
No,
driving.
I watched you get out of the driver's seat. You were driving. What's your name? Do not ID me. If you do not ID yourself, you're going to jail. Does that make sense?
She's pregnant. She's pregnant.
Don't you not pregnant? She's pregnant. Oh no! She's pregnant now! No! She's pregnant! Please! She's pregnant! Please!
You're fixing to get taped.
You better go. Mama, you're not doing that. Oh my God! You don't have to do all like the lights out. Oh my God! You don't have to do that.
I got you fired.
And we are not fighting you.
Unfortunately, the video clipped out after Officer Hayden deliberately turned off his body cam to avoid showing what happened. Fortunately, a lawsuit, later filed by the two women after the incident, stated the events of what transpired. What happened was that Officer Hayden pinned a bloody and screaming Miss Bowie to the ground with his knee planted in her back, crushing her and her unborn child beneath his full weight. This was a clear violation of the use of force policy, especially considering it was against a pregnant woman, which states, "Officers shall use only that amount of force that is objectively reasonable under the totality of the circumstances known to the officer at the time the force is used. Force may appear necessary at the time the force is used, given the facts and circumstances perceived by the officer at the time of the event to accomplish a legitimate law enforcement purpose." Moreover, considering the severity of the move used by the officer to detain the woman, he was liable for committing child murder had the unborn baby suffered any lethal damage due to the officer's negligence.
I'm 10-15 times 2. I gotta find my stuff.
Oh, we've dealt with them.
I need her in the car. You put her in that car over there. I've got one in my back seat now. She's. I've got it now. I've just got to figure out how to do it. Yeah, I'm good. Both of them's fighting.
After the incident, rather than take the poor woman to a hospital, the deputy took her straight to jail, despite Miss Bowie bleeding from her forehead and complaining about the pain. It took the efforts of a jail nurse who took one look at her and demanded that she immediately be sent to an emergency room. Unsurprisingly, Miss Bowie filed a federal lawsuit against the officers after that day, which fortunately resulted in Miss Bowie and her mother being scheduled to go to trial around 6 months later for their lawsuit. However, the lawsuit was later rescinded after the two women reached a settlement agreement of $100,000 with the police department. Next up, on February 2, 2023, in Pine Belt, Mississippi, the brother of a woman named Miss Jailia Stevens was being pulled over and detained by officers on the side of the road.
Y'all supposed to have 4.
Go for it.
Okay.
Step back. Step back. Put your hands on the door. Step back.
Your legs, bring them
Step
back.
back. Spread your feet. Spread your feet. There you go. Breathe, let go. Breathe, breathe, let go. Look good.
What you got going? You should have said that.
After that, the officers began searching the man's vehicle without his permission. As of now, it's still unclear as to whether or not they had a search warrant to do this. However, if the officers didn't have a warrant, this would be a direct violation of the victim's fourth constitutional right.
Sword. No, I know he's a sword. You search the hell out of him if you got. Oh, I know he's gonna work.
37, your next one. Let's go get it. Copy.
I just alerted. You mean sit? Search it.
Point. I'm gonna say the locked glove box might be a good indicator. You got keys on them?
I don't know. Y'all check. Who does it?
Got the keys on you, man? We're gonna need them. Is it? Wrecker's gonna need them. Wrecker's coming to get your Hey, Wrecker's coming to get your vehicle, man. Don't get me trying to lie how to say his first name.
What y'all found in his car from drugs?
Possibly. Huh.
Right here.
I like to smell it in here.
Smell it every day. I'm wondering
Right.
what are we talking about?
37, you also code 4.
Go for.
Copy.
32 steps, I'm stepping out way.
Copy, 32.
I mean, it's still possession. It's still possession. You know, it's definitely petty. There's no doubt about that.
Where's the zippers on these seats?
They usually supposed to be like tucked in, right there. Right there where your hand is.
Because this one feels funny.
Right here.
Feel like right here.
It's the same ordeal, right at the same spot.
That feels the same.
Never hurts to check though.
After scrounging around the victim's car for 10 minutes, the officers found nothing incriminating. Soon after, they heard none other than Miss Stevens down the road in her car, who pulled over 50 feet away from the scene after witnessing the man get arrested, yelling out that they were detaining her brother. In response, though, Officer Patrick Dickerson started approaching her.
Hey, hold down the road. Yeah. You're interfering.
Hey, call my daddy.
Hey, you want to be in jail too?
Have fun.
Despite her leaving, Officer Dickerson became agitated and started chasing down Miss Stevens, eventually catching up to her. Needless to say, the way he handled the situation was far from professional.
Let's see your license, please.
I'm clean.
Let me ask you a question. You ready for me to ask you?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. You ever heard of interfering with a traffic stop?
That's not interfering. That's my brother. I ain't saying nothing. I'm
Step
just
out of the
looking.
car. Step out of the car.
I will. Omar, call my mom and my lawyer, please.
Give me your license, please.
It don't matter.
What?
They
It's important to note that police officers in the U.S. must have reasonable suspicion or probable cause to stop the driver of a motor vehicle. Moreover, a citizen is not required to show a police officer their ID simply because they've asked for it. Even taking into account that they're required to do so when driving, that's only in the case of a legal traffic stop. However, since there was no reason for Officer Dickerson to pull Miss Stevens over to begin with, what he was doing could be considered unlawful and illegal.
got, bro.
Hang up the phone, please.
He said, I ain't touching nothing. I ain't got it.
She'll call you back.
I ain't calling nobody. Come.
Stopping and yelling at people on a traffic light. Just hush and
You
listen.
told me to
Hush
go
and
ahead
listen.
and go. I wasn't talking to him. You told me to go ahead and go. I wasn't talking to him. I was just, if that
Do
was
you want
your
to stop and
family-
listen, or do you want to go to
Okay,
jail right now?
Go.
I will take you to jail right now.
Go.
You stopping and putting your head over there and stopping and he can yell at you is interfering with a traffic stop. Interfering with an investigation on a traffic stop, regardless of what you want to believe or not.
Actually, according to Missouri Statute 575.150, a person commits the crime of resisting or interfering with arrest if, knowing that a law enforcement officer is making an arrest, for the purpose of preventing the officer from effecting the arrest, the person 1. By using or threatening the use of violence or physical force on the officer, 2. Interferes with the arrest, stop, or detention of another person by using or threatening the use of violence, physical force, or physical interference. It was evident that all the woman said was that they were arresting her brother, after which she drove off. Thus, Officer Dickerson was trying to falsely accuse her of obstructing a traffic stop. On top of that, the officer clearly violated the woman's first constitutional right, which states, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." Unfortunately, rather than see the error of his ways, the officer began arresting Miss Stevens.
Period.
Did I say something?
I'm tired of you. Hold
I
up.
didn't say nothing.
Hold up.
Come on.
I'm what you did. Even I heard it yourself. You
What did
can't
I
tell
say?
me to stop or tell me to go.
I was talking to him. He said I was interfering with him.
Call for the next line on this car. Yeah, you're fine. That's right. Let's go.
It don't matter.
It matters. When you interfere with somebody on a traffic stop,
I'm talking to you. You told me to be
I don't
quiet.
know what. I don't know what.
It don't
I
matter.
don't
Come
know
on.
what. Sit down. What's that license?
Valentine Boulevard on 2019 Hyundai gray in color. Tickles pink 1 out of 1.
Check, go ahead.
Check, go ahead, sir. Next spot, traffic. Here, stop, point.
32 Central. I got a 27.
After the incident, Miss Stevens sued the officer for his actions and demanded $250,000 in compensatory damages. As of the date of this recording, however, no updates have been made to this case. Be sure to check out our previous video where we cover another outrageous police encounter.